Alright, everybody. Let's have a bit of a frank discussion about some of the things that I'm a bit disappointed about. Doesn't mean that I hate the game, doesn't mean that the game's not worth playing, but there are some things that I think are pretty bad, and some which are completely unacceptable. To give you a quick rundown, Dungeon Defenders 1, that game was out for a long time. They brought out Dungeon Defenders 2, as well as something else in the middle that I never played. And then they decided, let's go back to our roots with the original Dungeon Defenders. You know, everyone still feels like that was the best game that we've made. And they said, hey, we want to make Dungeon Defenders 1, but make it right from the beginning. And it was like, great, sounds like an awesome idea, you know, to have properly made Dungeon Defenders 1. But, you know, they went out, they did a Kickstarter campaign. I looked at it. I didn't really feel like it was justified to do the Kickstarter campaign. I felt like they weren't, at the time, offering enough to say why I'd want to do it. I'd want to take that risk of kickstarting a remake of the original Dungeon Defenders. But here we are. Dungeon Defenders Awakened has been out for I think around a year and a half, and I decided to finally take the plunge in, watching some YouTube videos. It looked like the game was close enough to being pretty good. So took the dive in. I've played about 6.5, 7 hours of the game. It's going to say more on my Steam library now because of how much time I've spent trying to record these. So I've already got a couple videos out, and I'll be throwing out more as we go here. But let's get into, I guess you could call it bashing the game, even though that's not exactly what, you know, my first choice and preference would be. But that's just how it be. So I'm going to talk about the things that I find very frustrating about one of the core mechanics of the game, which is building towers, and the user interface around building towers. So they've changed a few things from the previous game, you know, and without going back, I can't remember exactly what they all are, but right now we've got 2 camera angles. Now for building a beam, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big problem, but oh look, suddenly if we need to go off screen, so we've really got to think about where we stand, so we have the right camera angle if we want to build and see our entire beam on screen. So it's really frustrating. And then I don't like this camera view much at all for building. I find that it's a very awkward, kind of frustrating camera angle to use, but this one gives you a very limited view as well. So there's definitely problems with both. One of the big problems is you've got this tooltip box here. This is the only way to figure out how long your beam is going to be. I find that rather stupid and frustrating, the way they've designed that. I think that, you know, especially something like Series EV, to be able to see the length of the beam right on the node as you're dragging it along. I don't want to have this tooltip box up, hiding stuff, just so I can see how long my beam is. Beam length is a very important part on this class. Now if we swap to a class that uses ranged towers, we'll start seeing some other issues with the camera angle. So now, it's a hot fucking mess. That's what this is. This is absolute fucking dog shit. I have nothing nice to say about that. That pisses me off. Even when I switch to this camera view, you know, I've got fairly low level, fairly low range towers. I'm still barely able to see where my tower is going for the rotation. So this to me is absolutely unacceptable. The fact that it's this hard to properly place your towers, you know, if they're covering 1 lane, 2 lanes, I'm not happy. I'm fucking pissed. So this is something that's super annoying to work around. You just kind of got to guess and hope your tower's in the right place. I never remember having this problem in the original Dungeon Defenders. So that to me is a huge fail. I'm really mad about that. I really need to fix that aspect of being able to see where your tower is getting rotated, where they're being built. So that's just horrible. And mostly just bad choices on our control over the camera and being able to have the camera work for us building. So there are a few other times that the camera does some weird things as well. But you know, there's not many games these days that have a perfect camera system. But this one, it just gives you so little control over the camera. That's it. So there's not much you can do to work around and fix camera issues right out of the game by default. So now the other UI element that I really want to talk about is this tooltip box. So you can turn it on and off. Now for the longest time I couldn't get it to work properly because one, I didn't know you had to hold the key to change it. They don't make that obvious at all. The other issue that I've had with this as well is my hotkey didn't stick. So I've rebound my hotkeys, and the hotkey for hide and wasn't rebinding properly to a key that I wasn't using. I had tons of issues with this thing disappearing on me, and I took forever to figure out. You know, here's our increase and decrease. This just rotates it for you instead of using your mouse to rotate it. Whatever. But now let's look at this tooltip from top to bottom. There are some things that are reasonable about it and some things that suck. So when we look at the very top, we see level 1. Great. Nice, easy place to find what level your tower is at. I'm getting used to that already. Pretty good. Then we see the cost to build it. When you're building it, sure, makes sense. You want to see it cost 80? Sure. Cost 5 defense units? Great. I want to know how many defense units it is in case I need to free some up, or when I'm planning out how many I can put down. And then we get the name of the tower, or the graphic, whatever. Sure, do your things to try and make it look pretty. That's fine. Then we look at the text. This grayish beigeish color on top of black. Dumb. I just so frustrating. It's not an easy to read text. It doesn't pop out at you. I just really don't like that choice. You know, and then we go into the green. Sure, that's fine. Tells you the effect. And then, okay, we're gonna build it. And now let's look at a tooltip of one that's already built. You can see the upgrade cost is now down a little lower, and the repair cost. I think this is a horrible place to put it. This is really stupid. It's awkward for newer players to find that. It took me quite a while to figure out where that was on that tooltip the first few times playing. Then if I go to upgrade, you know, I really think that dynamically in the top right there, that's the great place. This top right is where you're going to be seen, where you're going to be your eyes drawn to. They've got the 40 mana already there. This is already built. Who cares? You know, if you can, whatever action you're doing should be that mana. So upgrading, it should now show 100 in that corner to say upgrade cost is 100. If I was to repair it, you know, it should say upgrade cost. Well, at this point it's 0 because you can't. Or if you're going to sell it, it should show you the sell cost. So it's really frustrating. You actually have no idea how much you're going to sell towers for, other than if you just built it in a build phase, you get a full refund. So sure, it's going to be the same as what it costs. That's just basically a fluke. So super annoying, super frustrating. You have no idea how much you're going to get refunded when you sell. When you've already started combat, you need to sell something. So I think that's a huge design flaw. And just the fact that, you know, they put in a very awkward, harder to read place, the upgrade and repair. Over time, you'll get used to it if they keep it there. You always do. But I still think it was a really poor design choice. Just shows very low effort on their part. Yeah, so that's the tooltip there. And then sometimes it's hidden. I really find it frustrating that sometimes the tooltip just doesn't show up. You know, obviously when you look at them like this, you know, you don't want it to show up as you're just looking around. That would get super annoying. But I've had times where, you know, I'm doing the upgrade and for whatever reason, it just doesn't show up sometimes when I have over stuff. Now, it seems to be based a little bit on something to do with camera angle or just, I don't know, like here. There we go. Upgrade, I'm getting no tooltip to this guy up there until I move over to this part of it. So it's very weird, very frustrating how hard it is at times to get the tooltips to come up when you want them to. They should be much more consistent on coming up when you have something like upgrade active as your selection. So super frustrating. I've had that problem of building with the beams where the tooltips aren't showing up, making it near impossible to build. I think we fixed that now that we figured out that our hotkeys just weren't sticking, and it was using the default hotkey for show and hide. And the fact that it's a hold toggle instead of a press. But yeah, so this whole tooltip thing, it's so critical. The way they poorly designed everything to be based around this tooltip because it's an easier way to program, but yet it's not reliable. Unacceptable. I'm really annoyed about that. That's not a good design choice at all. So, you know, we talked about the upgrade, repair, and sell. Really don't like how basic that is. Now, the other thing about that is I really hate the fact that you don't always get to see the upgrade level. So right now it makes sense. I'm not seeing health bars on anything that's at full health, but you know, I'd really like to be able to see my upgrade level right in the middle of combat. You know, what I've figured out is, you know, I see the tooltip come up and I quickly look and say, oh, that's a level 1 tower. Yeah, of course I want to upgrade it. So if I do this and I happen to be over this guy, I say, oh, he's level 3. No, I'm going to find something else that isn't level 3 to upgrade. They do have a feature where it auto moves itself between different towers so that you're always upgrading. But again, tooltip doesn't always show up. So now I don't know what tower You know, am I trying to upgrade? Is it a level 1? Is it not? So that's something that they really should improve. The upgrade level should always be visible, or at least give us a toggle so it's always visible. This auto hide, auto show feature, you should have more control over it, or you should just, you know, like it's just frustrating in general. You know, you're in the middle of combat, you're shooting things, you're trying to figure out what you want to upgrade, and you really don't want to spend 10 seconds chasing down your cursor, figuring out, you know, what level is the tower, where is the tower that hasn't been upgraded yet. Now, by default, the cursor will snap to something that hasn't been upgraded as much. So whatever, if there's a bunch of towers tied for the lowest upgrade level, it doesn't always snap to the one you want, but if there's only one that's the lowest, they'll snap to that, and usually that's what you want. But some things you don't want to upgrade, so the snapping feature doesn't always work that well. As you can see, it moves around as you keep upgrading things, but it becomes problematic as the tooltip doesn't show up all the time. And for whatever reason, I find that this cursor is just not easy to see. Even though they've got this glowing, misty shit around it, I just find that there's a lot of times where I can't find the cursor easily. It gets lost as it moves around the screen. Right now, I have no fucking idea where the cursor is. Where's the cursor? It's gone. Like, this is a huge, unacceptable, absolutely fucking shitty thing to have happening in a game that's supposed to be a lot more finished than it is. Especially, you know, kind of based on what they were selling the game as being. So if we look here at my cursor at the top of the screen, I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to keep moving up. Oh, it's going up, and you can see my guy's head moving as a cursor. And now you can see, you know, let's swap characters. Let's swap somebody else. So, swap somebody you can see move better. So, you can see them moving. Where is my cursor? Where is my cursor? Okay, let's start bringing that cursor back down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Fucking 10 seconds later. You've got to be fucking kidding me. My cursor was somewhere way over on the other side of my fucking tavern. How the hell is that useful to me? Thanks. So I've had multiple times where my cursor gets absolutely dog shit lost. Unacceptable. It should be bound to the screen. It shouldn't be going off screen like this. You know, like, where's my fucking cursor again? Oh, great, look, I can turn a whole circle, and you haven't seen my cursor once. I don't know where it is. I can't even find it. Oh, there it is. That pisses me off. That absolutely pisses me off to no end. How poorly they've managed that. I have so much trouble with keeping track of my cursor. It's getting lost. Tooltips don't always show up. You don't always know which tower you're upgrading. You know, you can't quickly see what the level of all your towers are. You know, now the other thing too is they've got this view to show you, oh, hey look, your towers, where's it shooting? For once, this looks useful. It's only showing me that one tower. Oh, that's not what it's supposed to do. You see, depending on where you walk around, it starts showing you all your towers. Absolute fucking dog shit, once again. How am I supposed to tell? I'm just supposed to try and walk around and hope that somehow I get the game to glitch out in my favor, that it only shows me one tower's. No, see, it's just glitchy. It doesn't always consistently choose which towers to show you where their range is. So, absolutely fucking useless. Pile of dog shit, yet again. Rather pissed about that. Really don't like the way they've done that. So, there's a lot of guesswork that goes into tower building because of crap like this that they just have, and I don't remember having these same problems in the original Dungeon Defenders. So, to have gone through a Kickstarter phase, who have had the game out for 1.5 years and still be at this point, I'm rather pissed about that. You know, I think these are very unacceptable design flaws that shouldn't be around in a game like at this point, you know? So, the other thing that I just wanted to say, you know, like with the beam length, you know, you should just have length, DU length, the DU cost on the edge of the node that you're dragging around. Why have this tooltip here? Now this tooltip potentially gets in my way. And so now I've got to move my camera, reposition to build. You know, I should just have a cost on the end instead of having to have the tooltip open just to see how long my beam is. So, you know, that I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it was in the other game. It made more sense. It was way easier to build with. I don't know why they couldn't carry over some of those things they did right in the previous game and why they had to be like Derp, we don't have time to develop that feature in this game. Let's just throw a number on this basic tooltip card and call her a day, and everyone should be happy because it's in the game. No, not happy about that. Alright, so that's my bitching about the tower building, about some of the UI challenges, some of the problems that I've encountered that really frustrate me and make it quite a bit harder to actually do what the game is supposed to do. Be a tower defense game. So we'll move on to bitching now about the inventory and the UI here. So my first thought when I open this up is it's basic. It's very basic for a game like this. I don't understand why they took what was a fun little upgrade system that looked cool. It was fun to see the little things bounce as you upgrade them. And now we get this. What the fuck is this? It works. It's functional. But it's not exciting. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. I like the fact that we see a model of our characters, so the ones who can actually, when they, for cosmetics reasons, they can change how they look. You can actually start seeing like your weapon with its specs, stuff like that. So there's some neat things in that sense that you can see. You know, I like that, but otherwise, I'm like, this is super basic. What the hell? Like, this is just so basic. It's very like pre-release kind of, and let me tell you. This is not the pile of dog shit that they gave to the Kickstarter people when this game first came out, or whoever bought the game when it first released like a year and a half ago. Like, that was absolute dog shit what they had before. It wasn't even UI. It was like in-house beta testing, alpha testing, I don't even know what they'd call it, but in-house testing UI that wasn't designed for release. So I'm glad to see they've made major improvements, but when you start from a piece of dog shit and you want dinner, and instead they decide to give you burnt toast, yeah, of course it's going to feel like an upgrade, because who wants to eat dog shit? Yeah. So, I'm not super happy with this. The fact that the only way to interact with stuff is right-clicking in a modern game? Wow. Wow. That's something. That's the only way that, wow, I can't believe that. That is pretty embarrassing if you ask me. I'm not at all happy about that. Can't drag and drop anything. For the life of me, I can't figure out how to put anything in these bags or how to use them at all. So just a feature that's there but unfinished, I guess, yeah, don't like it. The other thing that's really dumb, green upgrade arrows. Oh, I'm on a monk. Let's tell you that this sword is an upgrade, because you can't equip swords, but it's an upgrade. Fuck off. Really? You can't figure out that, oh, I can't equip a crossbow on a monk? You're telling me that's too hard to figure out. So you're going to tell me that it's an upgrade. Yeah. Now, getting on to the upgrades again, this tooltip. Overall, this tooltip's okay. It's nothing sexy. It's nothing fancy. It works, except for one big thing. If you look and you see, they don't have the same stats on every item. So what they've done is they show you pluses and minuses for the stats that's on that item, but they don't show you pluses and minuses for the stats that aren't on that item but are on the other one you're comparing against. So in this case, we've got vitality is different between the two. So I don't see a -4 vitality on the right side, but I see a +4 vitality on the left side. So when we look at defense attributes, you can also notice defense rate isn't on both of them. So how do you get a proper comparison of which piece of gear is better if they don't show you all the comparisons? So you have to have the second window open, you have to do math on the fly and say, oh, well, let's see, this one has -1 fortify, +1 power, -3 range, +4 defense rate. So this one gives me the full story because it has all the stats. The one on the left gives me the full story because it has all the stats of the one on the right. But the one on the right doesn't give me a full story. I wouldn't know that I'm getting -4 defense rate by equipping it if I wasn't doing that comparison myself. So, to me, that's a big fail. Very disappointed about that. The upgrade system, it's here. It's not pretty. It works. But, overall, I'm very unhappy with it's just so basic. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, there's no fun. The other one was fun, seeing things bounce around and stuff. It's not the end of the world, but the thing is, too, they don't even tell you how to get out of here. They don't tell you, you gotta press escape to go back. Randomly odd choice. You know, this banner sits over top of the word, the text here, so you can't see everything. Oh well. You know, so there's a lot of little things that are very basic, very unpolished. One thing I do like is that they've added all these filters though. That's great. That's awesome. So for example, let's say I want to find every item that level 127, I can set that filter. So these are all the items that are level 27 requirements and lower. Level 26 items in here, but now I can say I just want to sell all these because all my characters are now level 30. There's no reason to hold on to this. I'm going to sell everything. And then you can see I've still got items left, but they were just filtered out. So now I can change my filter, and now you can see I've got these level 34 items. Well, there we go. Yay! You know, filtering, it's pretty good. I'll give them a plus on that one. All right. So I think that's enough about the inventory UI that I'm complaining about. Now let's jump into another problem that has plagued me on a lot of games, not just this one, but gave me probably an hour's worth of problems, if not more, is hotkeys. So I don't like to use WASD for my movement keys. I like ESDF, and I have to rebind the majority of my hotkeys. Now I've had quite a few problems. So right away, trying to rebind stuff, when you click on it, it centers it, and then you have to click on it again. What is with this design choice? And even sometimes you click on it, and it doesn't even stay active for you to press the hotkey. Like it's just so poorly done. The way that you change hotkeys is so frustrating. I've had problems where some of the hotkeys I've set, they actually don't stick. Like these hotkeys, I've had to set them twice because the first time I set them, I rebooted the game and they weren't set anymore. So I've had lots of issues with some of my hotkeys not sticking the first time I set them and having to restart the game or reset. You know, I've had sometimes hotkeys wouldn't work after I remapped some of the other ones. So for example, when I first started playing, I rebound everything. I didn't rebind the hotkey for ready and unready, but yet it wouldn't work. Wouldn't work. I tried pressing it, I tried holding it, I couldn't figure out how to get it work, couldn't progress the tutorial because I couldn't get ready and unready to work. So I ended up resetting all my hotkeys, still wasn't working. Reset the game, rebound to my ESDF and everything, finally it started working again. But just absolute crazy how many times I've had to dick around with certain hotkeys not working. The whole show and hide tooltip in build mode, this one, because I'm already using E for movement, it's really bad to have it bound to E, which is the default. So I changed it, it didn't hold. You know, I logged back in today to start making this video and I realized, oh, it still says it's E, even though I rebound it to K. I rebound it to K again and now it's working. But why? Why do I have to go through all this pain and all this trouble to get these hotkeys to work? The other thing is, you know, the game is not obvious about which hotkeys require you to hold them versus which ones don't. So, you know, I think I can press K to show and hide the tooltip. No, I have to hold it. That's not obvious at all. Inventory, you know, a lot of times when it says you're ready to level up, it's fine. Do I have a character who... There we go. So here's a character. I can press I to go straight into the inventory. Just a simple press. Or hold it. If you notice the I on the left there, that circle. The game's not obvious about everything to say when you need to hold it versus when you need to press it. So that's a little frustrating at times, especially as a new player. That's really frustrating until you get used to it. So just little things about the hotkeys, you know, which ones are press versus hold has really taken me a long time to figure out and be able to play the game functionally. And then also just rebinding hotkeys has created tons of problems with sometimes I'm not remembering the hotkeys I rebound to, sometimes it causing them to randomly break where a hotkey that I didn't even change just doesn't work at all. So stuff like that. The other thing that was a huge issue, and it seems to have fixed itself now, but when I first started playing, I did some solo matches and then I tried jumping straight into a multiplayer. Wouldn't connect. I looked to see, did they have some patch notes? Was it something on the Steam page? Whatever, you know, is there some way to say, hey, why is this not allowing me to go into multiplayer? And no idea. Played some more solo player, was able to get in multiplayer, it's worked ever since, but still, you know, my initial thought was like, what the hell? Why is multiplayer not working? It should work. I don't know why it's not. I thought it was broken. So far we've been good, fingers crossed, but you know, that was a really bad first experience as a new player. if you try connecting to multiplayer multiple times in a row and it tells you it's unavailable, you just think, oh, this game is broken, the multiplayer doesn't work. Like, what a bunch of assholes, they lied to me. That's how I would have felt. And then the other thing is there's a lot of lag in the multiplayer, so it's really frustrating the amount of lag that's in the multiplayer. It makes it hard to do things like kiting ogres and, you know, doing proper upgrading and building, you know, just constant little micro freezes, stutters. Yeah, not in a very good state right now, the performance-wise. You know, it's definitely not something on my end. It's, you know, no issues on solo. It's just something with the way that they've done the multiplayer servers, creating a lot of issues there. So that was really frustrating. The other thing that was really dumb is the difficulty levels. Like, so I'm just using my ready key, holding it down to bring up the campaign list rather than walking to the crystal there. If you look at what I've done, so I haven't done anything on easy. I don't even know why easy's in the game. Like, I can only imagine that they put easy in the game so that if you want like your 4-year-old kid to play this game, you know, like easy, I guess. But easy's just so easy. Like, I don't even get why it's in the game. Medium doesn't need to be in the game. It's okay again for people who really want something that's like they have no idea how to play the game. It's their first time playing. They don't know about building towers. They didn't know to put 4 heroes in their hero deck. Yeah, maybe medium's okay for you, but like medium's just boring and it's so easy. So as you can see, I did the first map on medium, just being like, well, that's what they suggest. I'll try it out. I was bored to tears. Not a good first impression of the game. And then I go into the second one thinking, you know, I probably should do this on hard, but just in case the first map was made extra easy because it's what they expect players to play first. Now, super easy, not even fun. Like, I was just like, screw this. So I went straight into hard after that. By completing a map on one difficulty, you unlock it on the higher difficulty. So I went straight into hard then on this map, and you can see suggested level 30 to 35. I was like level 12 or level 10 at the time. I don't know, maybe even level 7. And I progressed straight through hard. The first boss is on Alchemy Labs. You know, it gave me a little bit of trouble. I didn't properly build and prepare for that boss, but it really wasn't hard otherwise. You know, I ended up beating that on my second try, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing hard. Like, hard's, you know, at this point, now, I'm glad I didn't do that on Insane, though. That would have been a bit too challenging on Insane with the boss fight, but I soloed this, you know, I wasn't playing online, I was playing by myself, beat it with just my 4 heroes in my hero deck. I was like level 18 or something when I beat it and killed the boss. And then from there, I went straight into Insane because Magus Quarters, very easy map. They suggest level 45 to 50. But I went straight into Insane Hardcore, super easy map with level 20s. And I was clearing it no problem, getting great gear out of it. You know, why would I do anything less? And then I set up my own lobby in a multiplayer game. I finally got multiplayer to work. Had somebody join me, and then we went back to Alchemy Labs so that I could unlock more on Insane, which was really nice of him because there's no way I could have beat the boss on this in Insane. So we cleared on Insane, which was nice. And then, you know, it's been a cakewalk, but it's been pretty easy to solo. You know, Tornado Valley, went through that one. And then Tornado Highlands, you know, went through this one. I was able to solo. It was a bit of a rough start. This is a new map I haven't seen before because it is not from the original Dungeon Defenders. It took me a bit to get the build right, but I still was able to solo it and beat it. You know, so I'm already doing, you know, Insane, Act 2, suggested level 47 to 52. And I've cleared this one 3 times now, I want to say, just to get some better gear and get some levels before moving on. And I'm already level 30 with, you know, a bunch of gear for like level 34 and stuff. So yeah. It just, the difficulty thing makes no sense. They haven't done a good job at rebalancing it. I don't get why, you know, this again is supposed to be Dungeon Defenders done right. Not just Dungeon Defenders with some changes to justify you paying more money for it. So after all that bitching and after all that negativity, would I say don't buy the game? It depends. You know, for me, I'm okay with the fact that I bought the game. Although, partially I do love having things to bitch about, so it makes it so much better that I, you know, If I didn't like bitching, I would be very frustrated with a lot of these bugs, but bitching makes everything better. Still though, a lot of things that I think are pretty unacceptable at this point in the game. There is some promise, so the devs have said that they are going to be doing a lot more updates. They're still looking at developing this game, working on it. It's still got a lot of that fun and charm from Dungeon Defenders. I love the fact that you get Series EV as one of your starting heroes. Rather than it being a DLC that you had to wait for. That was the right choice on their part to have Series EV. These lower levels, they're pretty fun though. Like, you can use any tower you want on the easier difficulties. You can play around with funky builds. So, you know, it's still a fun game. It still has some really fun aspects. It has that kind of charm that Dungeon Defenders has, even if, you know, not everything's perfect about it, and some things are infuriatingly annoying about being able to build and this and that. But yeah, if you just want something chill that's pretty fun, it's very boring at the start. You know, they haven't done a good job at making it seem like an interesting game when you first jump in. But if you're not used to a game like this, you're probably not even watching my videos. So maybe for you it does work. But for anybody who's got some level of experience, you're going to want to ramp up that difficulty real quick. And then potentially see about getting into multiplayer to play with other players. But you can definitely do everything solo. It's really easy to progress through everything solo to get yourself into Insane and start working on Insane. And if you're having trouble with a boss fight, you could always change the difficulty back down to hard to beat it for the boss fight, and then go back to Insane. And maybe at a later time, you know, you could go back, revisit it, so on. But oh yeah, the game does have a lot of that charm that Dungeon Defenders have. If you've never played Dungeon Defenders, the original one, I'd probably suggest getting this one over that one, even though that one has so much going for it in terms of having all the DLC been previously released and other things like that. This one has the benefit of, you know, it's the newer game, so you're going to be able to find current online matches. You're not going to have to worry about people hacking or cheating if that's an issue to you, although currently there still is some cheating and hacking, but I would say it's probably going to be a lot less than the previous one. And I just don't know how hard it would be to find games with the original Dungeon Defenders online with other players, unless you already knew people to play with. So, yeah. Anyways, there we go. That's my long rant. I've recorded this video like 4 times, trying to make it shorter than half an hour, and that has not happened. Apparently I had a lot to say. So, for anyone who watched, I hope you enjoyed listening to me bitch, because I sure enjoyed being able to bitch about this game, and we'll see you in the next one.